Okay, so I feel almost like there's a situation here where a lot of you might have recently broken up with somebody, right? And I feel like you're burying yourself in work. You're just trying to like not think about it. You're keeping yourself quite busy so that you're not ruminating, thinking about the past, thinking about the ex-lover. And I feel like this is the month in which, um projects might be stalled. Things are not like gonna go exactly the way that you'd hope. And because you are just like work, work, work to suppress these emotional urges, right? They're gonna manifest in a way where they might come up in the work environment. Okay, so manage your emotions in a way that's healthy. If something needs to be let out, if you need to vent, definitely find an outlet for it. Otherwise, it's gonna creep up on you very unexpectedly. It might make you irritable. It might make the people around you, it might make it difficult to tolerate the people around you because you're dealing with some inner things that are not, being hashed out properly, or there isn't an outlet for you for your emotional, um, there isn't an emotional outlet for you. And so find an outlet to do that. Do some creative work, okay? Don't just bury yourself in work and hoping that these things will go away. Because I do feel here that you might lash out at the wrong people, okay? You might find coworkers extra irritable this month as well. And so it's creating discord in the work environment. So just be very, very careful of pent up feelings and trying to bury yourself in work as a result of not dealing with some emotional issues. Okay, so that's just a warning that I'm feeling for some of you. For others of you, I see like you're very, very restless. So it feels to me like a lot of you have plans to travel, but the travel plans are being stalled. That's what I'm feeling here. With this, the world card in the reverse, it's almost like, waiting for opportunities to expand outward geographically, but you're also waiting on the decision of news from another person. You might be traveling with another person. You might even be like making plans with another person. You might be traveling to promote specific projects, for example, and you're waiting for the green light. And I feel that, things need to be redone, revamped, revisited, redone overall. So as a result of that, you're waiting on decisions from other people. You're waiting for other people to wrap up their projects, and they're not able to do that on their own, or either that they're stalling because they want you to rush in and save the day. Okay. So I'm sensing some people are just like reneging on their responsibilities, not doing their fair share of the work because they're expecting you to come in and try to, pick up their slack. And I do sense that this has been an ongoing issue. Some of you might be dealing with coworkers that I feel like there's a lot of like idle chit chat and a lot of work that's unfinished because they're distracted. Okay. And so they're saying to be very, very patient on the work front. Okay. And especially don't do the work that other people are supposed to do. Okay. I feel like you're anxious to wrap things up, to finish up. You're anxious to get published. You're anxious to get things done. You're anxious to move on to new projects. And so it might just be easier because you have a lot of skills. It might just be easier for you to do the work for the other people because they're dragging their feet and they're slowing you down. But the important thing here is it's all about fairness, and it's all about, whose responsibility is that, and holding them accountable. So that means not enabling that behavior, and don't rush in to save the day. Okay. So that's just my advice overall when it comes to your work environment. It seems to me like that's the main source of contention in this spread. I'm feeling for some of you, there's this overwhelming need to just, want to get away, want to break out of your comfort zone, want to break out of your skin, want to break. Like, I'm feeling like possibly wanting to take a vacation, feeling a little bit burned out either from work or school or daily life or the minutia of everyday, the ins and out of every day, trying to sustain yourself. And I feel like financially, you want to take a big trip, but financially, you might not have the means to do that. And so you might be working overtime. You might be, in high demand in the work environment. And you might have a specific skill set where you're indispensable to your employer. And so they don't want you to leave just yet. And you're feeling a little bit frustrated here. It's almost like there might not be enough people working. So you're working a lot of overtime and you're doing a lot of work on top of that because of the employee shortage. Okay. So I feel like it's taking its toll on you. So they're saying, a lot more physical activities, especially if you're working in an office and you're like dormant all day. You might feel this irritable energy. If that's the case, you need to do a lot more physical activity, getting a lot more, of a lighter diet, but more like getting your metabolism up. That's going to be really important for you to not feel frustrated. It is really important to dissipate our negative energies in a healthy way. So, diet, exercise, like physical exercise, creative, creating something like doing art, doing something that is recreationally good for you in order to dissipate that energy. Okay. So creative work, diet, like physical exercise. That's really important. I feel like you're working very late into the night. I see some of you are possibly like managers or like supervisors. You're called upon to train new staff. You have a lot of skills. You have a lot of things that you can contribute to this training session. And the people that you're training, they're not taking their job seriously. And it's frustrating, right? It's really frustrating when we are so serious and we're making a huge sacrifice with our time and the people that you're training. I also feel like they might not be mentally and intellectually, they might not be at the same level. So the training material might be a little bit difficult for them to swallow, like to comprehend, to really, digest. And I feel like you're going to have to then redo it and cater the training to their appropriate, level of comprehension or to their appropriate level. Because I feel like you want them and you expect them to be up here, but the baseline is they're, below expectation. So I feel like you're going to have to redo and cater a training session to meet your audience's needs. Okay. So that's what I'm sensing. If you are writing a book and wanting to get published, writing an article, writing a research paper, you're going to have to dumb down, you're going to have to like dumb down the language because you might be explaining things in a very, very technical manner. And if it's something like on a very, on a subject that's not very well known or on an esoteric, thesis, for example, your audience, you need to be able to relate to your audience in a way where you provide the background, you provide the baseline so that they understand what you're saying, first of all, before you can lead them in and, present them that big finale. Okay. So you have to like really cater to your audience. So that might mean explaining things more in layman's terms so that everybody's on the same page before you pile on those big vocabularies. Does that make sense? So I feel there's an element here about, being in the public eye and the where you are is so highly elevated and where your audience is down here. So you need to somehow recalibrate and make sure they understand what you are saying so that they can be convinced as to, whatever it is that you're trying to present to them. Okay. So that's very important for some of you. First of all, I'm also getting this message about daycare, childcare, daycare. I'm feeling like some of you are either retired and you're called upon by children who might have, children of their own, and they're either shifting between houses, shifting between jobs, they're traveling, and you're going to have to take on a maternal role, and you have unruly children, okay? Like grandchildren especially, or even, grandnieces, grandnephews, and things like that. So I feel like you're retired, you might be called upon to babysit, and you have some unruly kids and you're just trying your best. But I feel like things are going to work out, in that manner. The parents will come back and then they will take them off your hands and things will be okay. So I'm seeing some of you, especially if you're grandmothers or grandfathers, your health might be a little bit in decline. You're not as agile as you used to be, and you might have to babysit children that are very active. And I feel like, don't push yourself, okay? Choose activities that are appropriate, okay? So that sense of like meeting somebody halfway, like, meeting them at their level rather than, exerting your energy trying to do something that's physically harmful to you or physically not possible for you. That's really important, okay? So cater specific activities such as letting them, sit still and do some artwork, learning to bake with them or teaching them how to bake, doing something that is age appropriate for yourself so that you're not overexerting yourself physically. So that's important for those who are babysitting, for example. And I'm also feeling for those who are working, there are a lot of work demands, possibly a lot of overtime, and you are in need of a babysitter. If you have children, you're in need of childcare, you're in need of like some services that you feel like financially you might be even financially strapped and you can't really afford these services. So they're saying in that case, try to reach out to family members, because I feel like that's going to be probably the logical way to go. Okay, so reach out to family members. All right. Here's the last relationship thing. I feel like a lot of you have dealt with this fire sign here. So we have here a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. Give me just a moment. I'm feeling like this is somebody you might have had children with, okay? And I feel like if you share children, there has been some hostilities between the two families, okay? It's a co-parenting situation. And I feel like there has been some hostilities. The other person might have like gotten into a new relationship, or they're trying to get married, or you yourself are trying to get married. And of course, with a third person into that, in that co-parenting situation, things are going to get complicated. So I feel like there is some disapproval here about, sharing children with somebody, and then that other person is trying to get married, or you are trying to get married, and there's disapproval coming through because for the children's safety. And I mean, the disapproval is coming through as an issue of the child's safety, the child's well-being. But that's not the case. I feel like that's more of it's like a false argument that somebody is putting on the table, but I feel like it has nothing to do with the child's safety. It has more to do with, somebody not wanting their ex to move on, somebody wanting to have control over who their ex gets to date or who to bring into the picture. So I feel like you're contending with that, like co-parenting, as you're trying to move on with your life, or the partner is trying to move on with theirs, or the ex-partner is trying to move on with theirs, and there's like disapproval as to who the old person is dating. Okay, so I feel like that element coming through. I'm seeing quite a bit of blockages here. I'm also feeling as if, I feel like there's just a situation overall where you want to pick your battles. That's what it feels like to me. You want to pick your battles, and especially if problems have arisen in the past where they're irrevocable, like they're irreversible, decisions that have been made and, finalized on. I feel almost like it's a custody issue. And I feel that, the parent and the child, the co-parent, whoever you're sharing children with, and whoever you're sharing custody issues with, they're kind of like trying to switch up the terms of their agreement. And I feel like it's creating quite a bit of disruption in your own life. Okay, so you want like the custody issue to be, set in stone so that you can plan your life, you can plan your work situation, but they're switching things up. So I feel like there's annoyances coming in from that, in that regards. Okay. I do sense as well, there's some new revelations coming through in the work environment. Somebody might be leaving the work environment, which creates more work for everybody that's left behind. So I feel like this is going to be a very, very busy month. I feel like a lot of things are happening for you guys. And a lot of it, unfortunately, is happening around you. Okay. So the main thing here is, I feel like, heavy energy with work, heavy energy with co-parents, heavy energy with children and people you're training who might be uncooperative. And so the advice is, maintain, like really pick your battles, figure out where you stand, and figure out, the things that are outside of your control versus the things that you can control, and catering your communication so that you can effectively persuade or sway the audience that you're trying to communicate with. Okay. I also feel like this is a really important month for you to stand your ground, for you to be very assertive, for you to be very clear. Okay. So don't shy away from conflict for this month. Okay. Stand your ground, pick your battles, but don't shy away from conflict. So don't be conflict avoidant if that's a situation you've dealt with in the past. Keeping your head low, mainly because, you want to fly under the radar. I don't feel that energy is going to fly this month. Okay. Some things are getting revealed on the work front, and you're going to have to be the one to confront it and to fix it.